Hi everyone, Mark here from Cleeve Racing, and I just wanted to shoot this quick video to take you through the new Cleeve Ratings software, which is in beta test mode at the moment. Now, we have tested this extensively, but obviously until we have users using it in earnest, we're not going to find all the bugs. So we'd appreciate some feedback. If you find any bugs or there's particular enhancements that you want, let us know and we'll feed those back to the developers. So this really is just a quick overview to show you how to use them, and then I'll go through the differences between what you see on the screen here and the actual spreadsheets that you download if you wish to. So when you go to the page, it will default to today's page. So I'm just looking at yesterday's ratings here. Now, we only store the ratings going back a couple of days because obviously there's a huge amount of data and it would just clog up the database and make it run slowly. So the drop down here is the date, obviously, so you pick the date, the page will refresh, and then you'll find that there's the drop down of the races for today. Now, at the moment it will look at all race cards for today, but that's a known bug, so really we only want the UK races. So you click on the meeting that you want, click submit, and it will bring up, so for instance today's Brighton's meeting there. The tabs along the top here obviously self-explanatory, these are each race, so you just click into the tab and it will give you the data for each race. Now if we run through the headings here, so we've got the name of the race, obviously we've got the time at the top, and more importantly we've got the class. Now at the moment we only produce ratings for class 2 and above, but this does all races at all meetings, so we're not sure how these will perform yet, and we'll go back and have a look at some results from say Sandown yesterday, but you can then very quickly find, you know, if you just want to look at class 2, you can go through it and it'll tell you the class, and you can just look at those particular races, whichever you want to do. So let's just find a race that's got some meaningful data in it. So I mean, this is an easy one because it's just a 4-runner race, and they've all run plenty of times before, so we've got some data to look at. So basically you've got the name of the race, the class, you've got the distance, the going, and the number of runners. So I'll cover this section here later in the video, and what we can do is we can download the what says the full report. Basically we'll download an Excel spreadsheet. Now you will need Microsoft Excel to do this, but what I'll do is I'll cover what's displayed on the screen. Now in the actual spreadsheet there's 29 different columns with various aspects and criteria, and then we use unique algorithms to calculate the final rating. So to get that squeezed onto a screen was really unworkable because it'd be so small, the columns would be so small you wouldn't be able to read them. So what we've done is we've summarized the main points of the spreadsheet, and I'll go through these with you in a minute, so that you can actually view the actual ratings, and the final rank is the final position. Now just a word on the actual ratings figure here. This is calculated relative to the number of horses and the data within the spreadsheet. So the bigger the number of horses in a field, the higher those numbers will be. So you can't really compare race to race an actual rating. It's not like a top speed rating or an RPR rating for a horse. It's relative to that race and the number of runners in that race. So the bigger the number of runners in a race, the higher those numbers will be. So just running through them, you've got the win-run ratio, so that's the number of times it's run, and the percentage, so these are percentages of the times it's won and the times it's placed, and the rank of the combined two. The pound per run is basically the number of times a horse has run and the prize money it's won averaged across the number of times it's run. Hope that makes sense. So it's an average of the prize money it's won in the number of races it's won. So then you get a rank for that, and the class figure is an algorithm we use to work out the class of the horse. Recent form is an amalgamation of the number of times it's run, the number of times it's been placed, the number of times it's won in those races, and then we give it a mark. So again, I'll run through a lot of these in the spreadsheet. You'll see where these are coming from. Trip and going is basically based on, that's a ranking on how many times they've run on the trip and the going, and how many times they've won on that trip and going, and then the final rating. You can sort any of these in any column you want. So you can sort by recent form, you can sort by win-run ratios, by pounds per run, etc. So you can sort all these in these columns, and then the final rank. Now you see, because it's a 4-runner race and they're very closely matched, some of these horses, we've got 2 horses rank 1 there. So what we can do is, if we click on this download button here, it will now download that race to a spreadsheet. So we've downloaded that race to a spreadsheet, and it's named it Brighton 447, you see on the tab here. And you can see what I was talking about now with the number of columns. So we've got 29 columns of data here, and if we tried displaying that on the screen, it would be very small. So just to quickly run through the columns themselves, so runs, wins, places is self-explanatory. Win-run, these are a ratio, so the number of times it's run, the number of times it's won, and the place-win ratio, same thing, and then those are ranked accordingly. You've then got the total win prize money and the total place prize money, and the amount of money a horse has won in its actual wins. Yeah, so that's an average pounds per win. Yeah, and then again those are ranked, and then we have an algorithm. Now you'll see none of the calculations are actually shown in these spreadsheets. We have a master spreadsheet that actually has the calculations and it works all these out, and for obvious reasons we're not supplying those to people, because obviously it's taken us years to develop those algorithms to work out these different rankings and ratings. The last £3 is basically the value of the last 3 races that the horse is running in pounds, and the last 3 positions is worked out by so if horses come first, it gets 1 point, horses come second, it gets 2 points, etc. And then obviously the lowest, the last 3 positions is a better score, and again we rank those, and then again we've got through recent form and last £3 and the pounds per run ratios, etc. There's another algorithm that works that out. You've then got top speed and RPR, and again another algorithm works out a score for that. Trip and going are percentages, so the trip is how many times that horse has won over the trip, and the going, how many times it's won on the going, and again a rank and another algorithm, and then the final rating is calculated across all these different metrics, and then it's ranked accordingly. So those are all the columns and what they mean. These come from the section just below the download button, which I'll go back and explain what they do. At the moment I would personally just leave those as they are. We've been using these same, we've tried all different types of weightings across the algorithm, and we found that these are generally the best weightings to use. Now these affect the calculations. You can have a mess about with them and see if they make much difference, but we found that these are the settings that seem to give the best results. So what you can do is you can sort on any of these columns. I mean, if you think that recent form's more important, you can sort on those. All you do is click on data on your main ribbon on Excel, and you've got these 2 buttons here, so it'll rank them accordingly, smallest to largest, largest to smallest. So if you click on that, it'll then rank them that way around. You click on that, rank them that way around, because obviously even though horse is top rated, it may not be the best for recent form, or it might not have the highest class figure, etc. Again, if you want to just do it purely by ranking, you need to then click the up and down buttons. You can sort on ranking, so you can sort these figures in any way you want. Now at the moment what it does, it downloads a single spreadsheet per race, and what I'll do is I'll now show you very quickly how to combine all the races in one spreadsheet. So if we go back to the actual ratings sheet, and I'll just move the screen down again, and we go to a different race, and then we click download, it will then download that to Excel again, and it will produce a separate spreadsheet. So now it's called it Brighton 345. If you want to combine those two spreadsheets into one single spreadsheet, all you do is right click on the tab, you go move or copy, select the download box, so we want it on that same sheet, move it to the end, go OK, and now we've got both tabs on the same sheet. We can move those tabs so in whatever order you want, and then if you want to save those to your machine, all you do is click File, Save, and save it as whatever you want to call it. So that's how to combine multiple sheets into one sheet. Very simple to do. So you can have a whole meeting on different tabs and you can quickly look through them. So in effect, that is how to use the rating spreadsheets. Just want to cover, as I said earlier, these weightings. So this affects the algorithms within the data within the spreadsheet. Now, as I said, I would leave these as they are at the moment. You can mess about with them, but what happens here, so if I try and change that to 20 and I go recalculate, it will say that the weightings must add up to 100%. So these figures here must add up to 100%. So, and then if you try and recalculate, it won't do anything. So if we go back to 30 as it was before, and then recalculate, see the 100% warning has disappeared. Now these are, as it were, in beta. We've said before that, you know, I wouldn't change these at the moment, because we found that these figures here are the best figures to use, and we might even take this bit out, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how we go when people start to use it. So in effect, that has covered everything on the usage of the ratings, and what we'd like you guys to do is use them and give us some feedback of what you think, how you're using them, and any enhancements, especially bugs. If you find any bugs, let us know. Oh, just one thing I didn't cover, which I'll cover now, is any particular non-runners. So if I go back to a spreadsheet, now these are updated a couple of times a day, but it does sometimes miss non-runners depending on when the data is updated. If there's a particular non-runner in a race and it's not picked it up, basically all you need to do on the spreadsheet is highlight the column, the row like that, right click, delete, and it will delete that horse from the spreadsheet, and then that might have affected the rankings, so we can then rejig those. Now you'll see that number 2 is missing because this is not a dynamic macro enabled spreadsheet, because as I said, we've taken out all the calculations, etc. It hasn't automatically updated the ranking number. I mean, all the rating figures are correct and it's ranked them in the right order, but you might find if you delete non-runners that these numbers might be missing, in this case number 2. But that's something really that we've had to leave out, because we don't really want to supply you guys with all the calculations and the macros, etc., for obvious reasons. So that's how you get rid of a non-runner.